let's talk about the important local ranking factors. So I know that there's probably, I've actually seen your report. I think there's upwards of like 50 or something on there, maybe even more.
149 different factors. Yeah. Well, and let's be clear, these are Google didn't give them to us. SEO is all a bunch of guesswork. We're speculating that these are what we think are potential factors, and then we get people to score them, and we're like, this is definitely a factor because we've tested this, we've seen it. And then the stuff that floats to the bottom.
Understood. So let's say I'm coming to you, I'm a law firm, right? Or a local contracting business. I'm coming to White Spark. What are the most important ranking factors that SEOs really need to focus on? Let's 80-20 this, right? So there's 149. Give me the most important ones that we need to focus on that are that you know and believe based on experience are actually going to move the local ranking needles.
All right, so primary category is the #1 factor that comes up. It is the highest scored local ranking factor. So making sure that you have the right primary category on your Google business profile. The best example is a lawyer. If you are specifically a criminal defense lawyer and your primary category on your Google business profile is law firm, you're doing it wrong. So what you need to do is change your primary category to criminal defense attorney, because that primary category has a massive impact on your rankings. Very important. So you want your primary category to be the closest match that you can find with your keyword, the main keyword that you want to rank for. So that's #1.
Can I just do a quick follow up on that, just that specific? So that's a great example, right? For law firms, right? What if you have multiple practice areas? Can you, I know you can add like secondary categories, but is it even possible to rank one business profile page for multiple categories?
It is, of course, yeah. So, look at a personal, look at a law firm. You can have a law firm rank for tax law, corporate law, bankruptcy law, divorce law. Some of these mega firms that do everything, they will rank, but they don't rank as well. And in fact, I'm working on a video for our YouTube channel right now, which is about that being focused on a specific niche. You tend to rank better if you're hyper-focused on one specific area. Right. So that is true. But the second factor that I'm going to talk about would be additional categories. So once you get the primary category dialed into your most valuable one, then what you want to do is cast a wider net for all the other things that you want to rank for. And your additional categories is where you do that. There used to be this idea that adding too many might dilute the primary, but that's not a thing. That's been disproven. So add as many additional categories as you can to your Google business profile that are relevant to your business. It's like, oh, also want to rank for these things, put them on there. You may not hit #1 with those, but you should drive some leads for them. And some businesses, they rank really good for a whole series of different phrases. It's all about the signals, right? So your website is strong when all of these different signals, your mentions on the internet, you're getting links from the right websites, all of these signals are saying, yeah, you're strong in not just one area, but in multiple areas, then you can definitely rank for them. So additional categories definitely is a huge one. Reviews, no one should be surprised about that. Getting a high quantity of reviews and getting keywords in your reviews, like not the responses to reviews, but in the actual reviews themselves. That's a big one. You definitely want to have a review strategy in place and making sure that you're asking all of your clients or customers for reviews on Google in particular. And then I would say go beyond Google. Make sure you're getting reviews on the industry specific sites or whatever sites are prominent for businesses in your industry. That's another big one. This didn't make the list, but it's a new and exciting local search ranking factor. It is predefined services in your Google business profile. So I recently tested this. Joy Hawkins was the first to break this, and in their test, they found that when you go into your Google business profile, you go into the services section, and then you either have to edit or accept any of the suggestions that Google has made on your profile. And so once you do that, you'll get this button that says add services, and you click that and you'll get all these little options for hey, do you do these services? Google's suggesting them. If you check them off, shockingly, it has a massive impact on your rankings for those specific keywords that are in those services.
Interesting. Okay. Yeah. So essentially I agree. So inside the Blueprint Training, our SEO platform training program, etc., the reason why I have some information on local SEO, but I usually tell people that look, it's not as sexy as you think, right? All the traditional stuff that you're doing on the website is going to impact the local stuff as well. Yep. It's really just a matter of making sure that you're present locally on some local websites, and then also your GBP profile is huge. So optimizing that, essentially everything that we just talked about in the top ranking. So in terms of, so those are like the obvious ones. I guess you just gave one of the non-obvious ones. Is there anything else in terms of local ranking factors that folks should be aware of, or is that pretty much the gist of it?
Yeah, and then as you mentioned, you're now getting into your website. You're trying to build your traditional SEO stuff. Lots of great content, title tags optimized, links going to your website. A lot of people talk about like linking to your Google business profile. That's not a thing, has no positive impact. So we touched on this earlier, and this video that I'm making is very interesting because what you can do is you can create, a good example is this dentist that I found. So that it's this dentist, and they have their main dental practice where they do everything, but they've created an offshoot for Invisalign specifically. So they have a different Google business profile called Clear Smile Dental. It doesn't even have Invisalign in the name. I'm surprised, but I should have mentioned that. Keywords in the Google business name, they have a huge impact on ranking as well.
Is that, but that's can be shut down by Google though, no? Because I've gotten my
yeah, well, can be, but you'll have to work really hard on Google to get them to do it. They don't really care about keyword stuffing in the Google business profile business name, but it is possible. What you'll end up doing is playing whack-a-mole with it. Someone will report you, they take the keywords out, and they got to put them back. So the best way to do it is to actually rebrand. So if your name is just Acme Mechanical, you do like furnace repair, rename yourself to Acme Furnace Repair city name. Like actually go and rebrand. You go to the government registry, you change your name, you change your signage, you change your logo, change your credit card, your business cards. You actually have to fully rebrand, and then you can reap the rewards of that extremely strong local search signal and have zero risk of getting suspended. But suspendeds are almost unheard of. Google doesn't really suspend for keywords in the business name. It's mostly they just strip them out. So I'm talking about this Clear Smile Dental. And so what they did is they created this new Google business profile. And it's shocking because this is the worst Google business profile I've ever seen. No keywords in the business name. They only have one category, which is the primary. It's dental clinic. They have no services. They have 0 reviews. This profile has not been touched. They're ranking #1 across the whole frickin' city for Invisalign. How is this possible? And the reason this is possible is because this Google business profile has a dedicated site. They're not linking. It's not just the Azarco Dental website. They have a brand new website, and the whole website has one focus. It's Invisalign only. Pages about Invisalign, testimonials about Invisalign, about our Invisalign doctors.
Interesting.
It's called, and actually Phil Rosick is one of the smartest OGs of local SEO. He's been in the game since the earliest days. He's the one that suggested to me that I add this factor to the local search ranking factors, which is website's degree of focus on a specific niche. This is a local search lever you can pull by executing this strategy. So if you create a dedicated offshoot, it's like, this is my money keyword. Imagine a personal injury lawyer. Where's the money? It's almost like there's so much money in car accident law. Right? That's what they want, right? The strategy here is you create a new Google business profile, set it up properly, start getting reviews to it too. You're going to do much better, but you make a dedicated site. So instead of just having your site with all your practice areas, you make a dedicated site for car accident lawyer city.
Okay.
And that is an incredible tactic. It's an outsized strength in the local specific results.
Okay. I got some follow-ups for you here, Darren.
Let's hear them.
So this kind of ties into the other two big questions that I had that I was gearing up towards because they're a little bit more complex when it comes to local, which is one, getting multiple GBPs verified, and two, handling multiple locations with multiple service or practice areas, right?
Sure.
So this dentist that you just spoke of, did Google then allow them to get another business profile verified because it appeared like it was a separate business operating in the same location?
They actually went up the street. They're 5 blocks up the street from their primary location, and it looks like it's a denture clinic that they also own. And so they created the Google business profile there. And if you look at the street view and you go around the corner, they even have signage on it. So they did it legit. This is a legit business. It doesn't have risk of getting taken down. But I have other examples from Phil. One example is a camera store in Brooklyn, New York, and they've got their primary Google business profile. And at the exact same address, they made a new Google business profile specifically for their rentals. So and then they made a dedicated site for that just for camera rentals, even though it's all operating out of the same location. So they got the same address, they have the same phone number, but they have different website URLs because we want to leverage this website's degree of focus on the specific niche, and they have a different primary category. So if you get a different primary category and a different phone number, you're almost always safe to open up another GBP at the same location if you can justify that is a distinct business.
So, wow. Okay. So basically, because like, I think the biggest question again that I was like gearing up towards is like business profile verification. I just want to share a quick story too, to drive how important this is. And I think obviously why Google's crackdown. I was just talking to somebody the other day who also specialized in working with law firms, where they were getting about 50 leads a month just through their Google business profile. Yep. When that category was shut down, it went down to 0. That's how they knew. So it's like, essentially, it's almost ironic, right? Is that local, this is part of a larger conversation, maybe we'll end the conversation with, but local has gone full circle from being super important to like kind of a lower ticket service. And now, in my opinion, for the right industries, it's the most important placement there is. It's it drives the most business value of any placement in search engines, right? Yeah. Ironically, agencies don't charge enough for it. Either way, not the point I want to get to here. But so this concept of getting Google business profiles verified, Google's gone through so many iterations. I had myself at our agency, I had 6 locations verified through Regis offices. We were ranking in all of them. Google, I stopped paying attention because agencies don't get good leads through local. That's like the one caveat here. Sure. My opinion anyways. So I just kind of let them die and kind of lost touch with it ever since then. But now that we're really gearing back up with law firms and all the noise that's happening in search engines, local has become our primary focus, right? We're also doing LSAs. We're doing a whole bunch of stuff locally now. So the biggest question that we get is like, we just closed a law firm last week that is actually up in Canada, and he has 2 primary service areas: employment law and disability law. Yep. Employment law probably has 3 times the search volume in those types of keywords, but he crushes it. He ranks for all 6 of his locations across Canada for disability law. But he basically was like, look, like I've kind of tapped this out, but like I need to get into the employment law. How can I do that? And I was like, well, we need to get you new GBPs and just target them there, and then we'll probably be good. So talk me through that process. Like, what is in 2023 and you see as the future? Like, how can businesses, without setting up a brand new shop, or maybe that's the only answer, like a whole actual office physical location that Google can see on a map, whatever, not like a Regis. Yep. What's the answer here, if you have one?
Yeah, sure. So Google, the key is that primary category, right? So if you've got disability attorney versus employment attorney, whatever you set as your primary category is what Google says that is what this business is. And so trying to do both, you're not going to have great results. So the ideal would be to create a new Google business profile, right? So this guy with 6 individual locations could potentially get away with it as long as he can create a branch of his business. And there's this whole concept of department pages that most people are not taking advantage of. So a department can have the exact same address, which is fine. You should give it a unique phone number, and you should be smart and do what we just talked about and actually create a unique website specifically focused on employment law. And those are departments of the primary listing. That would be a great strategy for that client. So you're standing up new Google business profiles at the same address. You're going to get the verification there. I would suggest make the website first and set up Google Search Console on the same account on that website they're going to verify the listing with, because that'll really help the verification process, because Google can already see, oh, we already have a website. It's already hooked up on Google Analytics. It's already hooked up with Google Search Console. You might get phone verification. And so then your verification process should be much simpler, and you can verify that additional listing at that place. Primary categories, employment law, Google business profile, everything on it is talking about employment law. The website's only talking about employment law. This this guy who's doing great for disability, give him 6 months with all of this work that you're going to do, he's going to be doing great for employment law too.
Interesting. So just to recap, right, is that we don't have to get like a Regis or, you know, a fake office.
Don't. Regis is the worst. Regis and other virtual offices currently have a massive bullseye on them. Google has no problem identifying that this is a virtual office, and you'll have a lot of struggle keeping those listings live, especially brand new. Regises that were created 5 years ago, you're going to still see them ranking because they've already established their trust with Google. But brand new ones, they are getting really looked at closely and very difficult to get live.
Especially, I would imagine, in brutally competitive like legal spaces, dentist spaces.
So hard.
You know,
Forget Regis. It's out. You cannot use that to create new profiles.
Okay, so then just to recap on this, because I think this is probably, I mean, this really is like probably the most important local business strategy, in my opinion. If you can get another GVP verified, it just opens up a whole new acquisition avenue for clients, right? So you're saying this concept of departments within a business, right, is that if you can kind of quite literally separate that, create a new business profile. And this is, so traditionally we would have like practice area, service area pages on a website and link that to the GVP. But you're saying that's probably not strong enough. You should probably create a microsite targeting that exact match, exact phrase, key.
I would say that would provide additional benefit, ranking benefit. And it's so funny to talk about microsites, right? Like that is an SEO strategy that we threw in the dustbin back in 2012, or like microsites. We just laugh at people that were doing that because it's a terrible tactic for organic, because now you're diluting your potential link equity. You want to build links to one website, or do you want to try and build links to 5 websites? But in local, it has a really interesting impact, assuming you can also get the Google business profile and connect.
Okay, interesting. So again, just to kind of finish this thought. So would you also suggest that too with that microsite? And this is kind of why, like, I think about AI, because this is something for me that like you could probably just use AI content to fill out the website, get it done quickly, use a template, whatever. Would you then also get citations to build out like like basically we want to treat the microsite like essentially we're carbon copying the original campaign for the root business, right? And just applying that and just treating this other business profile like a completely separate client almost.
Yeah, the citations are important actually, because if you don't also build citations for the new entity, or called like, you know, the new department, then Google will often just start merging it. Like the new Google business profile will just keep merging into the old one. And so unless you provide that footprint on the internet that this is a whole different business, you're going to run into that problem. So that really helps establish that this business exists. In fact, the order of operations is: number one, you build the website, then you hook it up to Search Console and analytics, then go and build out your citations. Don't create the Google business profile until some existence of this separate entity is already out on the web. Now create your Google business profile, and you'll have much better success.
Awesome.